After I got some answers on taste, I wondered if there was really any difference in purity. So I went to see one of the leading experts in water testing. I'm on my way to meet Dr. Philip Tierno, Director of Clinical Microbiology and Immunology at NYU. I sent him some tap water samples from 4 of the biggest cities in the United States, as well as 3 types of bottled water. We did the test, and it turns out all the waters came out pretty safe, except for one.
In one of the water, the premium grade water, it had several thousand colonies of bacteria per milliliter.
Would you drink this?
No,
Why not?
because I don't need to subject my body to thousands of bacteria per milliliter.
I discovered that we have this false sense of security about bottled water being safer than tap. So I began digging further, and what I found shocked me. In some parts of the country, methane is leaking into the water system with devastating consequences. People are chronically ill, animals are losing their coats, and in some cases, you can even set your tap water on fire. A new movie sheds light on this exact topic. It's called Gasland, and it is truly frightening. I had to meet up with the filmmaker Josh Fox. This movie gave me chills. This movie made me cry. This movie made me sit my husband down and make him watch the movie. This is scary, scary stuff. So when you went out west and you started meeting people who were actually lighting their water on fire, what did you think?
It's so surreal to hold a lighter underneath the tap and watch this huge ball of flame come out of it. Whoa. This new technique called hydraulic fracturing, which involves injecting enormous amount of toxic material under the ground, deep under the ground, to break apart these formations of rock, which they previously couldn't get gas out of. Once you get contaminants in groundwater, you can't get them back out again.
How widespread is this concern, or is this something that just affects a few people who live in remote areas and have wells on their property?
It's definitely not just a rural issue. All the water is interconnected.
How is this possible? How did our government, which presumably keeps our water and our air safe, allow gas companies to do a form of drilling that would create contaminants?
Well, in 2005, the Energy Bill exempted this form of natural gas drilling from the Safe Drinking Water Act. And at that point, you see a huge upswing in this form of drilling.
I'm here at the Department of Environmental Protection, the agency responsible for testing the water of 9 million people who live in the New York area. They look at the lakes and the reservoirs and the underground aqueducts that feed the system. I'm here to see just what goes into testing the tap water so that we can be sure just how safe it really is. You're the man in charge of my water quality.
That's right, in charge of water supply, distribution, and treatment.
How often do you test the water for purity and safety?
Every single day. We test for 250 parameters, measuring water quality by all those different measures. That's about 100 more parameters than are even regulated. We do 330,000 tests a year on the water supply in city and the other 230,000 at the source water. So the quality of our water really is unquestioned.
This is where we do some of our physical testing.
Okay.
We perform pH, chlorine residual, temperature, conductivity, and these are samples that came from our sample stations that are on the street.
Okay, so this is New York City tap water
That's right.
that you've removed from the water system and brought here to test.
That's right.
Let me ask you about fracking. Not happening right now in this area around New York City, but it may, and what's the DEP's position on it?
The mayor is not somebody who has a knee-jerk reaction to, oh, no, don't do this in my backyard.
Right.
His first reaction was, well, what do the scientists say we can do?
Let's look at
So we went and we did an independent study, and the evidence shows it's too big a risk to the fresh water supply for half the state of New York.
Good.
And that's why we don't want it to happen.
What can people all around the country do to make sure that their city's tap water is safe?
If you have questions about your water supply, I think the first place to go is figure out who's responsible for supplying it to you. And then go and see, what are they putting up there? What are they putting out there about their water?
My research gives me confidence. Bottled water and tap are usually very safe and problems are rare. If you're drinking only bottled water because your tap isn't the best tasting, here are a few tips. Pour water in a pitcher and refrigerate overnight, and by morning, any chlorine taste will be gone. Also, it's important to note you're more likely to get germs from your faucet than from your actual tap water. One way to prevent this is to wash the screen or your faucet at least once a month. But if you're drinking bottled water for the safety and purity, save your money. And when it comes to our public water systems, everyone should get involved and be informed. So how do you know if the tap water in your area is safe? EPA requires every water system in the country to post an annual report online. You can log on and find out. Go to epa.gov.